Welcome back to the channel. They wasted zero time throwing those shots back, none whatsoever, and he had no choice but to sit there and eat it. But before I get into the real meat of this episode, listen to this. I want to start how I've been starting most of my recent episodes and how I'll continue moving forward, critiquing the overall pod. And honestly, it wasn't a bad episode at all today. It felt loose, it felt natural, it was flowing. Mark was on point with the segues like he always is. Mona was definitely getting her dish off, and trust me, I've got a lot to say about that. But I'm saving that energy for Patreon. Y'all know what to do if you want to hear me really talk. Overall, though, the episode was solid. Joe stepped away for a minute. That gave them room to really get their ish off. They were able to vibe and bond a little, if you catch my drift. But anyway, they still made it clear that what you did was foul. And Emanny tried to duck behind the whole "I was in Vegas" excuse. I didn't interview her, I didn't say anything, and my co-host is best friends with her. Now, before I even get into their critiques about Emanny having Sam on, hold up, because what he said about Sayat caught my attention. He was clearly throwing little jabs at Joe about not giving leverage. Not just leverage, but let's call it what it is: ownership. Meaning walking into this thing with a straight 50-50 mindset. What's mine is yours, what's yours is mine on this platform. Now, he did backtrack a bit and say he gives that freedom because he wants everyone giving 100% to the pod the same way he does. But listen to me, if this pod really takes off, and it absolutely has the potential to, that mindset is not surviving once advertising answers the chat, once syndication comes up, once the big boy money starts knocking. Right now, it's easy because people are paying him directly. So at this moment, he has the loudest voice in the room. But when real deals start coming in, that language he's using right now is gonna matter. That's the part people always ignore. Joe is trying to warn him, like, hey, people already accuse me of stealing based on this exact type of thinking. And when it comes to this business, you can't just walk in blinded by friendship, thinking she won't play me, I won't play her. Because the moment serious money is involved, people start making moves without looping everyone in. That's when the snake talk starts. That's when it turns into, oh, he stabbed me in the back. No, he didn't stab you in the back. He was offered an opportunity and didn't need you to be present to sign off. That's the part nobody wants to admit. Why was the deal offered to him in the first place? Because Emanny is saying all of this out loud. And here's the real question. Listen close. What happens if Scion gets presented with a deal that's all female driven, all female brands, all female platforms, and Emanny says no? Does Scion get that same power when he's the one getting offered something and decides to override her? That's where it gets sticky. That's why Joe was like, be careful with how you're framing this. But I will say this, he does have a point. He wanted her to do this, and he wanted it to land under her name, like this was fully her play. I gave her the chance to really hold the platform down while I was gone, which is something I already talked about on Patreon, and Joe clocked it too. I can step away from the platform and it still generates income. And listen, that part gets tricky, because if I'm Scion and I don't even know what her pay situation looks like, I'm automatically assuming Emanny is cutting her a check. But hold up, if there's no set rate and everything is per episode, now we've got a problem. How are we breaking down the analytics for the episode I carried when you weren't even here? That was the very first thing I noticed. I went straight to the numbers. I don't even focus on YouTube like that because for whatever reason, he's still trying to grow it there. I'm looking at Patreon, and the Patreon engagement on her episode, including Sam listening to this, was just as strong, if not stronger. Maybe that was Sam, maybe it wasn't. But the engagement rivaled the episodes with Emanny and Sayo. So now imagine she circles back like, okay, how does the pay structure work for this episode? Or am I paid monthly? Man, there's so much to unpack here. And I'm not just talking, I've actually thought about this myself. Every single time I've tried to bring my brother onto a platform I'm already on, I stop everything first. Before we even roll, I'm like, let's lock this in properly. I want you to get 50%, I get 50%. Or we split it straight down the middle after expenses are covered. And every time he brushes it off like, nah bro, I'm not worried about money. And I'm like, listen, I hear you, but I am worried about it because I already get paid for my content. I don't know how everyone structures this behind the scenes, and I don't want somebody popping up later like, well, actually, you should have done this differently, and now there's tension that could have been avoided. Now, they touched on a lot of things regarding Sam, and here's the thing. It doesn't matter that you weren't the one interviewing her. The issue is that she was on your platform at all. Because people like us in the JBP universe and the ones heavily supporting Emanny right now are the same people who were here during the Rory era. They know that entire history with Sam. And it would be one thing if Sam never rejected Rory. It would be different if Rory didn't get down on one knee at the Rock Nation brunch. But he did. There's too much connection there. So for her to be on your platform and you act like it's nothing? Nah. Then you're sitting there while they're grilling you, and honestly, rightfully so, they're saying none of them would have done something that dumb. And while they're pressing you, you're like, I'd never do that to any of y'all. What do you mean? You already did it. You already crossed that line. And I keep bringing up the potential of what Emanny is building on Patreon for a reason, because eventually, people connected to Joe, whom Joe wants no association with, are going to come knocking. And everyone's hoping Emanny knows when to say no. So let me ask you this. What happens when Tahiri says, I want to come on your platform and cut your hair? Is Emanny really gonna shut that all the way down? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I could be bugging like I usually am. But overall anyway, I thought the episode was good. I just wanted to zoom in on that part specifically. And once again, I talked about Mona and the impact she had on today's episode over on Patreon. A lot went down. Like, a lot happened. And considering how loud I've been riding the hate train when she misses, I gotta be just as loud when she shows up. Same energy, same obnoxious confidence. But anyway, y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video if you liked the video, subscribe to the page if you haven't already, and if you have, you already know how we rock over here. Seriously, let me know. From here on out, I don't even know if YouTube will let me do this. It would be dope if they did. Instead of me pinning comments all the time, I wish I could drop polls directly in the comment section so we could actually vote on today's topic or rate how the pod was, all that. So for now, drop a number rating from 1 to 10, 10 being elite. Let me know what you thought about today's Patreon episode overall, and moving forward, I'll try to be way more consistent about getting y'all involved, especially when it comes to production and overall direction and all that. But anyway though, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.